Welcome to the satellite communication course. Today we'll learn that a satellite launching, how that satellite launch in a space. So that we are learning. So we learn here first what are the various techniques and what are the vehicles used for this particular launchings and all. And one simple example for this launcher that we'll see here. Now there are the launching sequence whenever we launch a satellite in a space. So we need a launching sequence of this particular satellite by a given launcher there. And that particular sequence, they have the acquiring the parking orbit or transfer to the whichever the orbit that satellite is to be placed. Suppose if you consider that a satellite we have that is about a low Earth orbit satellite, LEO satellite. In that case, that desired orbit, okay, so for a LEO orbit, that LEO orbit is about we say earlier it is about a 400 to a thousands of a kilometer length height. That is about a altitude. So now for this satellite launching, so we require a fuel for this launching the LEO satellite is a less, and whichever the rocket we are using for launching the satellite, they have the small size. So but if supposed to be we have that geo earth orbit satellite or a MEO satellite, then that height is increased now. If it is a MEO, then we can say that it is about a 10,000 to a 20,000 of a kilometer. But for the geo, we say that it is about a 35,000. Okay, approximately we say now 768 kilometer. But these are nothing but the altitude, or we can say that is about a height. So now to place a satellite for the low Earth orbit satellite, so in that case, that desired orbit is at a altitude. Okay, so we can say that word that is a desired orbit. That desired orbit altitude is a small, so that to send that satellite or to launch a satellite in a desired orbit or place the satellite in a desired orbit, so we require a okay for this desired orbit we require what? Okay, we require the rocket launcher. We require a rocket launcher for it. But in the case of if you see here that a rocket launcher which we are using here, okay, that for this different orbit they have the different stages of that particular launch vehicle is to be used, so that we can place the satellite that geostationary orbit or a geostationary satellite at this given orbit there. So each a launcher, we say that whatever the rocket launchers we require, that launchers uses has a fuel tank, and that fuel tank consists of what? That it consists of what? A liquid fuel, or we can say that a solid fuel, or we can say that it has a, or it can be a mixture of what? A liquid and a solid fuel there. Okay, so it is not necessary only that is only that liquid fuel is to be there. It can be a solid fuel. It can be of a mixture of that all the fuel, and that particular fuel it is to be burned. Okay, whatever the fuel we can say that as fuel tank, and that is to be burned to get the what? To get what we can say that get that particular thrust. Okay, or we can say that it generate, or we can say that that particular that fuel is to be used to generate a what you can say that thrust. Okay, right. Okay, so that can be used for the generate that particular thrust. So that there are the basically two types of launchers, and that launchers are depending upon that what type of tools we are using. We can say that expendable, or we can say that a partially, or we can say that is about it fully reusable. Means you might have seen that, observe that whenever that satellite launch in a space, so that uh, whichever the launches they are using, they can be partially or fully reusable. But sometimes what happen that whichever the launches used, they get damaged. That's why in that particular condition that cannot be reused there. So, but that launchers they have the multiple stages. They have the multiple stages. That multiple stages to be used to generate that particular thrust. Okay, to generate that particular thrust, or that can be used that multiple stages to generate the thrust, but those stages they are separated. Okay, whichever the stages are there, whatever the stage means, one, two, three, four stages are there in a given vehicle. So that stages can be separated. So that stages can be separated, and we can generate that particular thrust using that whatever the multiple stages we have. So means each and every after each and means we can say that while launching the satellite up to supposed to be 100 kilometers, then one stage is to be removed after 200 kilometers. Likewise, okay, means for example, you can say that that particular after particular stage that that particular portion of that satellite launching vehicles and all that will be removed. Okay, that will be automatically okay separated. Okay, once it is separated, that weight of that vehicle will be reduced there, and because of that weight reduces by this particular launchers or this okay or that carrier, so then that speed of that particular that thrust generated required thrust generated will be a maximum there because weight is reduced, so speed is reduced means velocity is increased there. And we can say that whenever we say that whatever the multiple stages we are using, so each and every stage they have the fuel of a fuel in the form of a liquid or a solid there. And these particular launchers, if you see here, and that each and every launchers they have the multiple stages. So cost of this particular launcher or cost of that vehicle is depending upon that how many stages are there. A number of stages are depending upon that what will be your satellite to be launched in the space there, whether it is LEO, MEO, or a geo orbit satellite. So according to that, a cost will be changes there. So we'll say that we'll learn here what will be the launch vehicle or one sample example of a launch vehicle we'll see. Okay, launch vehicle and whatever the propulsion that is to be used there. So generally we say that for each and every satellite they have the different stages. Satellite vehicle they have the different stages, and that different stages are used because for each and every stages they have the fuel in the form of we can say a liquid or in the form of a solid or it can be a mixture of this. And along with this particular launch vehicle, so that satellite payload is also with them. We have that particular carrying unit with them. So if you see the a leak, what you can say that a whatever the fuel is used, so supposed to be consider that a fuel for the solid and a liquid. If you consider, so it will generate a thrust, or we can say that it will generate the required thrust. But in the case of that generation of a thrust in comparison with a liquid and a solid, so liquid fuel generate a more thrust. Okay, liquid fuel generate a more thrust as compared to the solid. So that's why I can say that this one is about a generate a sufficient, or we can say that whichever we can say that sufficient, or we can say that is about a low thrust by this a solid fuel. But liquid fuel are the more thrust. So because of that, so whichever the stages we have, we are using that multiple stages. So according to the weight of this particular mixture, a liquid or a solid, so that stages stages to be used initially with a solid fuel, okay, because that weight is larger, and then they will generate a more thrust there, okay. So we can say that for particular example, if we consider that whichever the launch vehicle there, we'll draw a take diagram there, and then we'll get that a knowledge about that particular satellite there. Now consider here a multi-stage launcher. Now one sample example, multi-stage launcher, and that multi-stage launcher that we have taken from the ISRO website, PSLV C118, okay, 18 here, and that we can say that liquid or a solid that is to be used for generating the particular thrust there, okay. So it is depending upon that whichever the, we can say that weight again, that particular portion of that particular satellite is to be used, consider, and then we can say that that particular stages is to be used. Now this one is nothing but what we say, we have a satellite payload, and this one is about nothing but, because I try to draw from upper side because we are not able to see in one particular screen, okay. So this one is about, we can say, a stage 4 rocket,